Hey guys, it's Krystal Lee Moore here, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor, Krystal Lee Moore. And this is Realtor Life, a fun and entertaining look at life in the trenches as a real estate professional in Ontario. I'm so happy you're here. Today we're going to be talking about getting back to basics and what that looks like and why it's important. So first of all, why do we care about getting back to basics? Right now in the real estate market, especially in Ontario and especially in London, Ontario, things have gotten a little bit slower. We're hearing about it everywhere. And even though most of us were complaining in 2021 and 2022 that it was so busy, I think a lot of people are wishing it was still so busy, and they have completely forgotten that they wished it was not. So what's happening right now in the market is that things are slower. They're slower for good reasons, like the fact that it's summertime and it usually is slower right now. But it's also, there's fewer buyers, interest rates are still a little higher than people would like, and we have a lot of sellers that are still hoping for those prices from back in 2021 and 2022. It doesn't mean things aren't selling, but they are taking longer, which means as a realtor, you're putting in maybe some more work than before to get even less in the results column. So what can we do? So Tony Robbins always says when we succeed, we tend to party, and when we don't succeed, we tend to ponder. Another way of looking at that is that we learn in a down market and we thrive in an up market. But this is learning time. So this is the time when you can really get those creative juices flowing, and we can figure out what are things that you could be doing, or maybe that you used to do that you're not doing anymore, to help your clients and their listings or to help buyers. What are we missing? And we like to do these brainstorming sessions all the time because this is when the most creative stuff comes out. I think everything I've ever created in my business that is just so helpful either comes from a brainstorming session or it comes when I'm on a walk, which is however you creatively figure things out. For me, it's when I'm walking. So one of the things that I love is Brian Buffini's quote, "I did it before, I can do it again." And he usually pairs it with, if they can do it, I can do it. But I did it before, I can do it again. It's a really important quote because it makes you lean on you and be self-reliant and know that even if things aren't going swimmingly this second, you've done this before, you have the model, you have the floor plan, you have the blueprint, you can do it again. And what does that even look like? So sometimes it's going to take you going back and figuring out, what did you do before? There's something like, and I don't know the exact percentage, but something like 98% of what we think today is what we thought yesterday, which means if we're putting things in our brains constantly, there are other things that will get forgotten. Sometimes it might be something you were doing for clients. When we went in and looked a long time ago, like a couple years ago, we had been doing Facebook Marketplace and Kijiji ads for our clients. And somewhere along the way, they fell off of the system. They just weren't happening. And I completely forgot. I also used to do a weekly update for my coach, and it was an in-depth update. It was a snapshot of my business every single week. And for some reason, I completely forgot. It lifted right out. I've gotten back to them, so I send them every Monday to my coach, and it really does help you feel like you're in control of your business. Because that's the thing, you are an entrepreneur. We work for ourselves, which means you want at any given moment to know how things are going. And in my update, and you should be doing this in some capacity, I make sure that we know exactly what's going on. What do my numbers look like? What do the numbers in the city look like? What do we have for an average sale price? Do we have a lot of listings coming up? What active listings do we have? What active buyers do we have? Things that you need to know. Maybe how close are you to your goal for the year? And how many closings have you had? How many closings do you have pending? Things like that. Things that you could look them up, absolutely, but you're going to feel more in control of your business if you have ready access to that information. So When we look at, I did it before, I can do it again, it's important to know that the results are important, but we can't control the results. John Acuff is a fantastic speaker, and he also has a podcast called All It Takes Is a Goal. And he actually said something that blew my mind. He said, "You are the CEO of your actions, not of your results." And how often do we get caught up in the results? And guess what? Spoiler alert, we can't control anything. 0 things are in our control on the results side of things. But we can control our actions. So we can do everything the right way. We can make sure that we're constantly improving, we're constantly refining, and making sure that those actions are really going to get us to the finish line. What that finish line looks like, that's where it kind of sucks that it's not up to us. But if you do the right things, it will all come around. It might just not come around the way you think it will. And that's important because when we have listings that are taking longer to sell, we have clients that are not super happy. Joe Nigo used to say, and Joe Nigo, for anyone that does not know, I'm sure everyone knows, but Joe Nigo is not your average Joe from Chicago, and he partnered with Brian Buffini for so many events, and his saying that he used to say to us was, "Sell it before they hate you." And it's true. Nobody likes having their house for sale. It is awful. You feel like you can never get comfortable. It's like you're living in a hotel, but at any given moment you have to leave. So no one likes having their house for sale. Sell it before they hate you. He's also famous, as a side note, for saying, "Drive until you can afford it." So buyers sometimes want to live in a certain area, and they have to kind of go further away from that area until the price point matches their budget. But that's where it really is important to know you've sold houses before. And if you haven't, if you're listening to this and you're brand new and you've never sold a house before, other people around you have sold houses before. Find out what they did. And houses will sell. A house that is well priced in a market where there's demand will sell. The issue right now is that it can be really tough to narrow down that price, which is there's a market value. There's also what the sellers are willing to sell it for. And then buyers they're just in a situation right now where it is even more difficult for them to really lock in and buy something because there are so many other options out there. And so sometimes it's just, this is where we get really practice on our skill of showing and negotiating and really making sure that we're showcasing homes and going above and beyond and getting really creative on how can we get in front of as many buyers as we can for our listings, and for our buyers to get them in front of homes that actually do work for them and find out what they're looking for from us. Some people are very happy to have you as a negotiating professional. Some people actually want you to be a shopping consultant. Some people want you to be the person that is kind of selecting things for them to go see and ultimately partnership shopping with you to figure out which house that they want. So find out from the beginning what they're looking for. And this is where you learn, because we're always learning, all of us. Even if you've sold 100 houses, every person that you sell to or that you sell for is different. So I did it before, I can do it again. Just remember, going back to basics might be the key that you need. The perfect example I can give you, and if you don't already do this, I suggest you do it. We created a transaction spreadsheet using Google Sheets. So I've finally embraced Google Sheets over Excel. But Google Sheets, so we have 4 tabs. One tab is potential buyers and sellers. One tab is for buyers. One tab is for sellers, and those are all active. And then one tab is for pending deals. And then our last tab is for closed deals. So that's 5. So the reason that we have this is we wanted one spot that we can find everything. We can find every piece of information that we need for our clients in one easy place. And it's not really the same as a CRM. We use the Buffini CRM, which is amazing, but this is a transaction sheet. So we have one spot, and if we need to find the lawyer's email, We need to figure out what was included in this sale. We need to figure out what was the deposit. What was the buyer's name? What was the seller's name? Whatever we need, it's all in there. And we created that out of necessity because it was getting frustrating having to go back into all of these emails and documents and systems and figure out all the information when we wanted them in one place. But that's when you learn. You learn when you need something. So same thing. If you look at your listings, what is happening? There are listings selling. Why isn't yours selling? Is it just price? Is there something else you can do? Can you get it in front of more people? And maybe look at how many of those houses are selling right now, because client expectations might be that it sells in a day or a week, but that kind of house is selling in maybe 30 to 60 days. So client expectation and conversations, that is a really important one. You want to make sure that you're having those discussions with your clients and that you get used to sharing exactly what's going on. Sometimes we'll have clients and they really want you just to tell them what it will sell for. And what we can do is tell them what it should sell for. So market value, we can do all the things. Ultimately, if you lower the price, things should sell. But even when you lower the price, if there are obvious things that are wrong, for example, if there's water in the basement, that tends to really freak out buyers. Or if it's a really high condo fee, or if it's electric baseboard heating, things like that. So in a market where you have a lot to choose from and people are very money conscious, those are things that you may have to be very creative with the buyers and the sellers to come up with a solution. But I do believe that there's a solution that can be found for almost every house. And every house will sell, as my old broker used to say, every house sells at the right price. So that is important to know. But just remember, I did it before, I can do it again. If they can do it, I can do it. And then really quickly, the rest run cycle. So it can be really easy, especially when things are taking longer. You feel like you should just be working all the time, because if you just work a little bit harder and a little bit longer, everything will be okay. And that's not really how it works. So the rest run cycle means that you need to take time. You need to take time off. You have to take care of you. And remember, as an entrepreneur, you're all you have. So if you get tired, if you get burned out, if something goes wrong because you've just been working yourself to the bone, burning the candle at both ends, guess what happens? You don't have a business at all because you can't work. So take the time to relax. It depends on how you want to do it. I know some people won't work on Sundays. I've known people that take Fridays off. I will tend to try to not work on long weekends. If we're doing things with our kids, we try to not work. And same thing, like in the summer, it's beautiful weather. That's when we try to spend time with friends and family. So we do work, just maybe not the same kind of 15, 16-hour days that we might be working in the middle of the spring market. And the thing is, if you worked 15 or 16-hour days 24/7 all year, you'd be exhausted and you would be no good to anybody. But the goal is to make sure that you are able to keep up that passion and that motivation, the excitement. I don't know if everyone feels like this, but I don't know if you've ever been on vacation or taken a few days off. And right before kind of, you know what's coming, you know you're going back to work, hopefully you feel like this too, where you're just getting excited. You're like, okay, let's do this. I've enjoyed the time off. Now I'm ready to get going and get back into it. If you don't ever have that feeling, then maybe you're not doing the right things. But you do want to love your job enough that when you have relaxed, then it's time to go back and just crush it. I love that feeling personally, but I also know that you don't have that feeling if you are go, go, go. And sometimes what happens is people, they don't have the rest run. They just have this like medium pace kind of strolling through life, strolling through their business. They're not excited anymore. It's just ho hum, get it done. And that's not great. When they talk about what people say when they're on their deathbeds, no one's ever saying, hey, you know what? I wish I'd put more hours in. I wish I'd worked a little harder. People are always saying that they wish they had done more things or followed their heart more, or been more confident, or spent more time with friends and family. There are always regrets of things that you would enjoy in life. It's not about, I wish I had worked harder. And so let's kind of take a look. What do you want your life to look like? And it's okay to take time off in the summer. It's okay to take a day off and relax, because you do what you need to do for your clients. You work really hard, and you can create whatever life that you want to create, as long as you're doing it with a mindful attitude. So you're making sure that your clients are taken care of. You're always learning. If for some reason, let's say you do want to take off a week in the summer or 2 weeks, just make sure someone is there to help you if your clients need something, because that's what we do. We help each other. No one can do it alone all the time, and no man is an island. And so remember that this is a life that you're building, not just a business, and it's not one sale, it's a whole career. And ultimately, even in a market that is slower, people are succeeding. You can succeed. I can succeed. The entire industry relies on us needing roofs over our heads. And that was not a plug for roofing companies, but it could be. The idea, though, is that there are successful people in every market. Even in slow markets in 2008, houses were still selling. It just wasn't happening as often. And same thing, it's not 2021, it's not 2022. Even 2023 was pretty crazy, but houses are still selling. It is still a very good time to buy, and it's a great time to sell also. So at the end of the day, take care of you, get creative, and remember, you did it before, you can do it again. I'm Krystal Lee Moore Lucier, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon.